It's Platt, and today we head to the land down under. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have here today is Coopers Brewery Original Pale Ale. A little background on Coopers Brewery. Coopers was founded by a gentleman named Thomas Cooper in Adelaide, Australia in 1862. For a large part of the history of the brewery, including today, the brewery has been family owned. Thomas left the brewery to 4 of his sons when he passed, and it's just been handed down throughout the family. There was a little gap beginning in 1962, around 1962, the 100th anniversary of the brewery, where at the time in Australia there was a big consolidation of some of the major breweries, regional breweries, and Coopers merged with a company called South Australian Brewing, and basically it was kind of a stock swap. They were still separate entities, but they owned each other's stocks. They had board members on each other's boards, so it's kind of a hybrid corporation. That lasted for roughly 30 years or so, but in 1995 the Cooper family decided to take back over the brewery, buy out outstanding shares of stock, or the voting shares of stock. Just a little background, there's different classifications of stock. Some have voting rights, some don't. The Cooper family bought back the voting rights stocks and took back full control of the brewery in 1995, and they still have the brewery today, and it's structured in a way where it's tough for outside shareholders to get voting rights. So Coopers is at the end of the day, kind of a mom and pop thing that just grew, and boy did it grow. Coopers is actually Australia's largest brewery. I know a lot of you out there, and I probably, if you'd have asked me, before I'd ever had Coopers beers, the largest brewery in Australia, everybody would have said Foster's. That's what America thinks of Australian beers, but it's actually Coopers Brewery. What makes Coopers unique, and part of the reason why I picked this beer, is Coopers is also the largest producer of homebrewing kits, homebrewing equipment, the kits and everything. They produce their own Coopers kits, which I'd seen their malt extract in stores for years, homebrew shops for years and stuff. But a few years back, they merged with Mr. Beer, which was the predominant American homebrewing kit for a long time, and merged to create the largest homebrewing company in the world, homebrewing kit company. And we'll go a little bit of that later. But I thought that was unique. You just kind of don't see that, even though there are some breweries, that started off as home brewing shops, then became breweries or whatever. But Coopers kind of almost did it in reverse if you think about it. Coopers has a full line of beers. Besides the pale ale, they also have a sparkling ale, which is an English ale, a little higher ABV. Even though it's called a sparkling ale, and in your mind you think of a clear beer, it's actually kind of cloudy. Those are Coopers' 2 most popular beers. They also carry a stout, a pilsner, a what's called an XPA, or an extra pale ale. It's not an IPA or a double IPA, or it's just called an XPA. They have a dark ale, and then they have a beer that's kind of unique. I had to do double take research in it. They have a beer they refer to as clear. It's not like Pepsi Clear or anything like that. It's actually their take. It's a full strength beer. It's not a session beer. Full strength beer that is low carb. So I guess you could kind of say it's Cooper's take on Michelob Ultra, but it's called clear. Also, one thing Cooper does with their beers is they have different colored labels for the different styles. I want to say the clear beer is like a yellow label or something like that, and Cooper's pale ale has a green label. Well, before we try this beer, let's check out the stats. Well, before we try this beer, I thought I would discuss Cooper's home brewing kits, or that side of their business. Coopers, like I said, also merged with Mr. Beer. They both make similar kits, but they're slightly different. Coopers always specialized in the 5-gallon kits. They had bigger cans of malt extract. They kind of played the hits, but again, they were one of the first to kind of they were one of the early ones to do the hopped malt extract, where you didn't have to worry about a hop addition, what have you. It was just all in there. Basically, you added the hop malt extract to water, voila, you add the yeast, and voila, you had beer. Then there's the Mr. Beer side. Mr. Beer has generally makes 2.5 gallon kits. They're a little smaller from there. It looks like a barrel. Sits on your counter a little easier. Takes a little less space. Still to this day, even though they're the same company, they have separate websites. The Mr. Beer side has a little more stuff than the Cooper side, especially things like Mr. Beer. They have a pretty nice line of yeast. They sell different hop varieties. Even though they sell hop malt extract, if you want to add additional hops or use a different type of yeast than what they give you that option. They also have a nice line of the plastic bottle, reusable plastic bottles for your homebrew, different size kits. I believe Mr. Beer, I know for sure Mr. Beer and Coopers both do ciders. I want to say Mr. Beer got into the kombucha thing for a little while and even had some wine kits. I'm not sure which Coopers or Mr. Beer that might have switched to, but they're great for beginning home brewers. And if you're really into craft beer, I suggest to people get into home brewing. Even if you're not getting into the all grain and buying a system, get you a Mr. Beer kit. And they're real simple. I've got one of these cans of hop malt extract I've had laying around. This is for an American Light beer. Like I said, it's hopped extract. It's got all the malt in there. It's got all the hops. And on top, they give you a little pack of their brewing yeast. You don't have to worry about specialty yeast or stuff like that. And basically, you add this to hot water, and voila, you got beer. It's just a great way to learn about beer when you actually take part of the process, when you actually smell that malt extract, while you're heating it up. It just brings you a greater interaction with the beer. And speaking of making beer, let's try drinking some beer. Here, I'll set this off here. All right, boy, that's a nice, clear, lighter beer. We got a finger full of nice head, light khaki. All right, get plenty of malt, just a shade of hops. Let's give it a try. Well, that's nice. Simple. It's more in the English style pale ales. Again, the hops are subtle, more in that noble hop style. Nice little malt punch up front. This actually, to me, comes off more of your stereotypical European style lager in kind of the Heineken vein. It's not skunky necessarily like a Heineken, but just that same lighter color, malt, slight malt forward taste to it. Nothing outstanding, nothing pops out, but this is a very pub style beer. If I'm going to play darts or watch a football game, something like that, you could knock these back all day and just they go down easy or whatever. This is not going to push the boundaries of taste, but then there's times you just want a beer to consume, and I could see if I was down in Adelaide, Australia, catching a Aussie Rules football game, we would definitely have a few pint of these. Well, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you would like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.